Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast this week. I am so excited to be behind the mic and getting to talk to Gloria again. More on that in a minute. This is such a fun conversation. Really quick, I want to make sure you know that coming up on it's a Thursday, April the 24th, we are having an AI wall art workshop. This is happening because I've gotten so many emails from you guys asking for this. Wall art is like, everyone always thought it was super saturated on Etsy, but right now it is massive. There is so much opportunity. So many of the opportunities I'm finding in the trend spotting membership, there's really, really great possibilities in wall art. And now the AI can do a lot of really cool things that I know I certainly couldn't go into Canva and design myself. So we are going to learn how to find what to design, because that's a big thing. You want to avoid anything super saturated and go into the really exciting niches that are doing really well. You want to be able to create really beautiful, high quality, high resolution wall art with AI. You want to be able to resize it effectively, because people in the wall art space want to be able to have different sizes and dimensions to fit their frames. And you want to be able to position it beautifully on Etsy with the best SEO to get seen and sold. And we're going to cover all of that. So join me. The link is down in the show notes and you can come to the workshop. It's going to be fabulous. The last one was the coloring pages workshop, and it was an absolute hit. I feel like with the PNG tumbler wraps was spectacular. The coloring pages, we're just getting better and better. So come to this one. You've been asking for it. It's going to be amazing. And then I have two questions for you. Jenny from the shop, you know how we do the mindset episodes, and you guys gobble those up. I get the best feedback from those episodes. We're toying with the idea of a workshop. Do you guys want a live mindset workshop with Jenny and me? And we'll do a little bit of activations, help you work on some of your blocks, talk through, literally do a live workshop. Super, super short questionnaire. Drop us your email if you think that would be fun. And then I will also let you know if we schedule one. I think that would be really, really fun. But I'm just curious. I want to ask you first. And then the other thing I want to ask you, this is so random. Would any of you guys be interested in being able to have an all-inclusive membership with me? So not just the trend spotting membership, but it would be a monthly cost, totally affordable, but a monthly cost, and you get access to everything I have. You can come to every live workshop. You can go into every recording I have. You'd have access to the trend spotting membership. You'd be able to come to literally everything that I do and everything I have done. It would just be all inclusive. If that's something that you'd be interested in, probably it would be between $200 to $300 a month. So not for everybody, but for some people, because then you're not having to pay for everything as you go. You just pay for what you want access. You know what I mean? You get access to everything. I'm just curious. I'm just putting feelers out there. So look for that link below. And if that would be a really good fit for you, let me know. Just kind of gauge interest. But what I want to talk about today is the summer months of Etsy. I personally think it is such a myth that Etsy just dies in the summer. I think it just depends on what you sell. Just if all you sell is Christmas stuff, you're one time of year is going to be, that's it. You'd have to diversify if you want to sell other times of the year. I think almost all of us can definitely see things happen in the summer, unless you're so niche that people wouldn't be buying it in the summer. But one approach that can change this game for us is PR, which just simply means getting featured in the media, whether it's people's social media accounts or it's from publications like magazines or it's gift guides. There's so many different ways. I'm going to let the expert tell us about that. So many of you are not even realizing that you'd be a perfect fit for this. More people than not, it can fit for literally any type of product. So we are going to have the lovely Gloria Chou back on to talk about PR for the summer, and then some tips she has. Honestly, she brings so much value. If you haven't heard the first episode with Gloria, it'll be linked below. Make sure you check that out. It's going to be a little more foundational, her backstory, and a little more intro to PR. This will be a little more advanced. But let me tell you about her. Gloria Chou is an award-winning PR strategist and host of the top-rated small business PR podcast, known for her untraditional yet proven approach to PR, which makes visibility and access to media accessible to anyone. Gloria helps BIPOC and female founders get featured organically in top-tier media without needing PR connections or a large following. Her strategies have earned small businesses in nearly every industry niche over 1 billion organic views and features in outlets like the New York Times, Oprah's Favorite Things, Vogue, and Forbes without any pay to play. That means you're not paying to be featured. It's free. A former U.S. diplomat turned small business advocate, Gloria has been on 100 podcasts and was named Pitch Writing Expert of the Year in 2021 as part of the influential Businesswomen Awards, and a Forbes Next 1000 honoree. That is so amazing. So let us welcome Gloria to the podcast. Buckle your seatbelt. There is not a single one of you listening that this is not relevant to. Gloria, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited to get to talk to you again.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And I'm so thrilled to hear that you said from the last episode, somebody got on Real Simple. Is that what you said?
What is it? Southern Living. Southern Living. Yes. Okay. So first of all, guys, go back and listen to the first episode with Gloria because we'll lay the foundation for this. But yeah, Gloria, so you came on, you talked about getting PR features. So like getting in magazines, on websites, different like gift guides, things like that, getting featured for Etsy sellers. And I had 2 people email me within a few weeks that they listened to what you said. They went and they applied I think they took your free masterclass. So I definitely recommend that to everyone. And they went and they just sent a couple emails and someone literally, I'll tell you guys, Tina, Wreaths of Bloom, who we all are so proud of. She was featured in Southern Living. And there was another one I need to keep confidential who had a feature as well. And you gave them the courage to do it.
That means everything. Providing access, because I think for the longest time, product owners just don't know that PR is available to them. They think it's for celebrities or politicians. And my whole thing is about really just demystifying it and making it super simple, because if it's not simple, it's not going to get done, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about really what PR is. I think a lot of people don't understand it because we always get spammed with those like, let me feature you in the random 40 under 40. And that's not what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about free PR where you're not paying someone, you're not pay to play, you're in a beautiful roundup, you're meeting your customers exactly where they are. Because think about it this way. If I was to click on an article titled best, running shoes or best personalized pet things, my buying intent is probably 10 times higher than a random person on Instagram. So there's really no better way to get in front of your customers than being listed in a listicle or a gift guide or a shopping roundup. And you're not paying the journalist for it. Sometimes you can obviously offer your affiliate code, but it's you're not paying for that placement. And so it gives you SEO, it gives you credibility, and it gets you right in front of the customer. And that's why it's so important. That's what we'll talk about today, of how you can actually do that.
I think Etsy sellers, especially, like we all talk about this in entrepreneurship, and you and I have even talked about it before, Gloria, but Etsy sellers especially struggle with imposter syndrome and questioning whether or not their product is worthy, questioning whether it's kind of like you said with celebrities, but even more like, I'm not one of those products who's been featured on the first page of Etsy, like where they're saying, like, showing this creator. Can you maybe help us dispel some of this, Gloria? Like, what kinds of products are worthy of being featured? Who should even be going after this?
Yeah, I think this is the biggest lie that the industry tells us so they can monetize on us, right? The traditional PR industry says you need to pay us 10 grand a month for 6 months for us to call up our buddies. And what I have found, because I'm a PR outsider, Lizzie, and if you listen to the previous episode, I actually never worked a day in any PR marketing agency. I started cold calling by picking up the phone and cold calling the newsroom operator, and with trembling hands and getting phone slammed in my face. And I slowly picked up on patterns. And here's the thing, journalists don't want to talk to a PR rep. So let's remove the middleman. They want to talk to the founder. And this content is going to get published with or without you. So why not have it be you? There are so many articles for so many different things. 10 gifts for her, 10 gifts for him, 10 gifts for graduation, 10 gifts for the newly divorced dad. And so this content is tremendous, and we need to help them feed the machine. From helping thousands of small business owners, and by the way, they're all mainly solopreneurs and they don't have a big following. I actually asked the journalists, because I actually bring the journalists in who write these gift guides, and they all say, I don't care about your following because your following can be fake and it's not a popularity contest. So it's not about if you have a celebrity endorsement. And the reason why is because they want to become like, they want to be ethical. And if journalists are always covering the big box brands, right, then you probably wouldn't really depend on them to discover new brands. And so for them to be the go-to person to discover new brands, they want to discover new brands. And so it's your job to just present them the right product for the right season. And we'll talk about how to do that. It's not about your benefits and features. And so that way that they can list you, because they're in the job of discovery, and we want to just help them because that's what they want. Another thing is like, you don't need, to have made $1 million. They're not going to ask you that. Out of all the times that people have been featured in a gift guide, I don't think the journalist has ever asked, well, how many units have you sold? They just want to know the pricing. Is it for shipping right away? Is it made to order? All the kind of nuts and bolts of how someone can order it. And these stories can get turned around really fast. I mean, like you said, some people pitch one day and then the turnaround time is 24 hours later, and you're collecting that SEO right away.
So back in the day before Etsy, and even some crossover, I ran 2 blogs, and I regularly did gift guides because they got me so many clicks. If I could put pins on Pinterest for my little blog, I would get all these clicks on the gift guides. So I was sitting there assembling these lists as just a small time blogger, but still they got a ton of traffic. So I'm sitting here thinking like, oh my gosh, we're doing the journalist a favor. Like if we've got something, well, okay, but let me ask you this, Gloria. We have a lot of listeners who do maybe print on demand type products, or they do digital products. What about that? I know they're sitting here like, oh, this is not for me. Do you think even they can get featured? Are there places for them?
Totally. There's a huge bucket of personalized gifts and stationery and wall art. And so we have a lot of people who do that as well. And so instead of just thinking about print on demand, think about the item that would be perfect, right? So we have someone who does like wall art that specializes in seascapes, and that's perfect for relaxation or for moms. We have someone who does like t-shirts that's perfect for graduation or bridal or college. So think about not just everything that you sell, but what is the right item or items that's perfect for that season. And so you start to look at pitching differently. I always say there's no such thing as a newsworthy person or product. I mean, I've written pitches for bath salts and candles, and they get featured, and even something very unsexy like I don't know, like a mouse pad, right? There's a reason for it, because people need it. It's just about positioning your product for the right season. So if you make 30 different things, what is the right thing for that season? So your print on demand, so if you make print on demand, maybe a mug for outdoors is perfect for spring and summer. Maybe a luggage tag is great for when people are traveling. So think about what that is. I mean, I know Taylor Swift, that was a big thing with her Eras tour. So maybe like pink rhinestones. So do you see what I'm getting at? It's really thinking about what is the sentiment of the consumer in that season, whether it's weather related, whether it's graduation related, or a holiday, or something happening in the pop culture sphere.
And I think the other piece of this, a lot of us maybe will sit back and just kind of wait. We wait for that email from Etsy being like, hey, we want to feature you. Or they wait for that blogger to email them, hey, I want to feature your thing. And in both of these cases where we had these wonderful success stories, they actually took the bull by the horns and they reached out to publications. I actually think that they like sent an email and were, talking to it would be a journalist would be the name of it. See, you can see how far removed I am from your industry. What are some like proactive ways? Like people don't need to sit there and wait on their laurels and wait for someone to reach out. They can actually so I guess my question is, how do we find who to reach out to, and what do we even do to put ourselves forward?
Yeah. I always say, why not reach out? Because if you're making 10, 20, 30 Instagram reels, and we know that the algorithm is actually hampering down, they actually don't want your thing to be seen. I read a statistic saying something like 15% of your audience will see your stuff. If you're spending time on that, I would rather allocate it to do something smarter that gets me a higher ROI, which is learning how to be a great pitch writer, learning how to be your number one advocate, learning how to connect with a journalist who's going to write these run-ups. That is such a high ROI. So let's talk about PR, right? PR really at its core, if we boil it down, is 2 things. It's writing a good pitch and sending it to the right person. And so let's talk about sending it to the right person. It's not going to be info@buzzfeed.com or media at New York Times, right? It's not going to be the editor-in-chief. It's going to be the commerce or the shopping writer or editor. Commerce or shopping, like literally look for that in the title. So commerce editors and commerce writers, they're the ones that are rounding up products to represent, to show their audience. So that's usually a shopping guide, a gift guide, best 10, whatever. So those are the people that you want to look for. Now, obviously, if you make something that is, wellness or health or beauty, you can also look for the beauty writer too. So it's basically the commerce or shopping writer plus whatever industry you're in. And here are some ways that you can start to compile a media list of journalists who are writing that. So one of my favorite tools is called sourceofsources.com. And if you sign up for it, it's kind of like the new Haro, Help a Reporter Out, which is no longer. If you go to sourceofsources.com, it'll ping you 3 times a day with all the different requests that journalists are looking for. You might get something like, I'm looking for Easter basket gifts. Please email me by X date, right? They'll give you exactly their email. They'll give you exactly the publication it's for and the deadline. So that's one way that you can find journalists. Another way is to set up a Google News alert, which is free, by the way. And so if you make print on demand or headbands or children's gifts, put that in there. And then Google will send you all of the articles about your industry. And so when you click on the article, you'll see the journalist's name, and usually you'll be able to find their email. This is public information. And you can start to assemble your own ever-growing media database. Now, we have this in our program, of course, over 172 niches, but you can start to do this on your own and start to create your own list. Now, a third thing, which is actually not so often talked about, but a huge goldmine, is using Substack. So a lot of freelance writers now are on Substack, and they actually tell their Substack subscribers first what stories they're working on before anyone else. And so I follow about 30 different journalists on Substack, and you can just search, like, for example, if you make beauty, or you can just put in, beauty writer. If you can follow one person, then it kind of expands with like 4 or 5 other journalists for you to follow. And you can go down an internet black hole and just start accumulating these follows and subscribe to their Substack. And they will send you an email probably once a day or 3 times a week with, here's what I'm working on this week. And so today I just got something for Real Simple and apartment therapy of like what they're covering. And they'll give you their email and the deadline. So that's another great way to know what journalists are writing in your field. The fourth way is to just follow hashtags. So for example, on X or on LinkedIn or on Instagram, you can follow hashtags like e-commerce or Etsy or journal requests, which is like journalists requesting, different interviews. But I would say that's probably the one of the least effective ways. I think that the Substack and the Google News Alert and the source of sources are probably the best. And then you can kind of combine that with following a hashtag. So those are kind of the 4 ways that you can start to look for journalists and what they're writing.
I feel like Substack just like crawled out of the abyss and blew up.
Yeah, I think the reason why is because, journalists right now, they're not getting paid as much, right? Because, publishing is under a huge squeeze right now. And so what they're doing is they're trying to monetize and develop their own platform. And so there's free subscriptions and paid subscription. Now, a journalist that's an ethical journalist will never charge you to upgrade to paid just to see their stories that they're covering. So you can subscribe for free for a lot of these journalists' Substacks and never upgrade if you don't feel aligned, and you can still find out what they're writing every week.
What do you think, how would you describe, I think a lot of people aren't even familiar with it yet. Just real quick, how would you describe what Substack is? Is it just a blog basically? Like, is it kind of like the new blogger.com or, WordPress?
It's like a WordPress. It's just a platform where you can subscribe and you can read journalists' private blogs.
Wow. I think that's so interesting. I was wondering if it was more robust than that, but I think it's just the new cool thing.
And you can become a writer as well, right? It's kind of like Medium in a way, right? They take your email and they also email it to you, but there's also an app that's really optimized for mobile. So I have the app. And every day it refreshes with all of the stories so that I can kind of curate it and actually post it in our PR program. I curate it from around the internet, but you can start following them yourself. If you make dishware, if you make pet products, there are journalists on there who's going to be writing that. And it's just a matter of answering that right away. And I have people who get featured in like 24 hours just answering these Substack requests.
Are you a print-on-demand or digital product Etsy seller who's tight on time or still learning all of the Etsy secrets? I totally remember the days of having no idea what product to create next before I learned how to make those informed decisions so I can really identify with where you're at. I know how stressful and frustrating it can be to just create listing after listing and see little to no results. You wonder what you're doing wrong and you just want someone to tell you what to create that's actually going to sell. Where are those opportunities? So let me give you a leg up with my weekly trends and opportunities report. You just join my membership, and every Monday, I'm going to send you an email with a list of exactly what is trending right now, with a video tutorial showing you how I found those trends and how to apply them in your shop. We're taking guesswork and extensive time off of your table. I'm also going to send you 5 print-on-demand and digital product opportunities that are growing in demand right now, helping new shops make sales and still have very low saturation in the marketplace. So your tight schedule, your newbie status doesn't have to hold you back anymore. I'm going to help you earn while you learn. You can grab my free demo to start and see an example of what the weekly trends and opportunities email looks like right from the show notes. See what you're going to get, and I will see you on the inside soon.
What is so amazing about what you're telling us is that, and you already said this, but I want to reiterate it for the person who's not quite getting it yet. We talk about the graduation of building an Etsy business, and I always say just start with Etsy. Don't add a whole bunch of. You don't need to start your own website too. You don't need to build a brand. Like, leverage the free organic traffic on Etsy. There's 90 million shoppers on there, something insane like that. And then as you go, you get good at it. You start getting sales. You get over 100 sales. You get established. Then you can start doing things like building an email list. Maybe starting a Pinterest is a really great entry point. But with the PR angle, Gloria, they don't even need any of that. Like, they could literally be a brand new seller. It doesn't matter. They don't have to any social media. They don't have to have their own website. They don't have to have any Pinterest, any email list, and they can just start emailing these journalists. It's such an easy entry point. So I think because we're talking about, in some cases, they're a very, very new business owner. Could you give us some etiquette tips about how to be reaching out to these folks? Like, what is the right thing to do? How many times? What should the follow-up look like? Maybe some of that angle. Thank you.
Yeah. And don't get like down on yourself, because we're not taught this. This is a very radical act, and no one's teaching anyone this, right? No one's like, oh, here's how I'm going to pitch. So don't be hard on yourself, because again, it's been gate kept by the industry for so long. But journalists are people, they're not going to bite your head off, and they get hundreds of emails. So they're used to people being persistent, especially the really pushy PR agencies, right? So just know that they understand that that's how pitching works. They expect you to pitch them. That's how they find products. Now, so we talked a little bit about where to find the journalist. Now let's talk about what to say, because PR, again, is writing a good pitch and sending it out. So what makes a pitch good? Remember, there's no such thing as a newsworthy person or company. A good pitch is just something that's relevant for that season, period. And a lot of times we don't think about that because we're so close to our product and we're thinking about the benefits and features, and we kind of forget to zoom out. And so I want you to become a good steward of the news. So what are people buying this season? So if you make skincare, right, you're not going to pitch something super oily in the summertime. If you do food and wine, you're going to want something that's fresh ingredients for summertime. So think about that. And if you for Mother's Day, people love bundles. For gift guide season, there's like stocking stuffers, and there's luxury gifts. So think about all of the buckets that you can fit your product into. So it's not about pushing all of the product, right? It's maybe like 1 or 3 items for that season. And then just writing a good pitch. So let's start with the subject line. The subject line is not going to be your name or your company name or the word pitch. It's going to be reading kind of like an article title. For example, best personalized stocking stuffers under $30 that ships by Christmas. You see how specific that is, right? It gives them to know exactly what is the bucket. So I have a whole training on this in my program, but that's really what the subject line should be. And if you have samples, you can put samples available. And then using my CPR method, and by the way, listen to the previous episode, I go in depth, but my CPR framework is kind of my method of how to structure your pitch without going on and on and on about it, right? So CPR stands for credibility, point of view, and relevance. But for a product pitch, it can be just get to the point. Just be like, hey, start with the relevance. As people are looking for graduation gifts this summer, or as we get into bridal season, people are looking for X, Y, and Z. That is why my product is perfect. And then I like to have, the point of view, which is 3 bullet points, 3 reasons why it's perfect. 1, it's made from organic materials. 2, we donate 10% to local charities. 3, it's available in this 3 sizes and colors, customizable. And then you always want to conclude a little bit with specifics about where it's shipped. Is it available only on Etsy? Can I buy it at a store? Is it ready to ship or made to order? If so, how long does it take, right? And then what's the price point? Are you willing to send a sample? And do you have an affiliate link? So those are all the kind of the nuts and bolts of what that is. And you can put a photo. I would put like up to no more than 3 low res photos. The rest you can hyperlink. I love a hyperlink. So to find out more, go here. If you have a really interesting story, don't go crazy about it. Just put 1 or 2 sentences. And that's the credibility part. It could be, we've been featured here. We've been voted number 1 at our locals farmers market, or, teachers love us because this notebook XYZ, or I am a mom and daughter team and we founded this because my daughter's dyslexic. Like whatever that is, just put like 1 or 2 sentences and that's it. That's really how you write a gift guide pitch. And then you sign off and that's it. So don't attach anything crazy. Keep it very simple, very short. Use my CPR method. Watch my masterclass. It'll show you exactly what that is. You can go to gloriachoupr.com/masterclass. That's Gloria CHOU pr.com/masterclass, and you'll see exactly the structure of it. But there you have it. That's really how to write a good pitch for a journalist.
And if they don't really have a story, they can even leave that part out. Haven't I seen you send emails be like, you don't even have to include that piece, like keep it simple?
If you have a really interesting story, and being a mompreneur is not enough. Like if you have something
Exactly.
that's very interesting and unique, like for example, we have someone who makes sustainable hand warmers for skiing, right? And they make it from beaver fur, which I didn't know, but that is actually ethical and sustainable because you're not using those like throwaway ones. And it's all made by Aboriginal women in the Arctic part of Canada. And so that's a really interesting story.
Yes.
So then I would put that there. I would put 1 or 2 sentences, but not everyone has a story like that. So it doesn't exclude you from being featured. What matters is that you get to the point right away. A lot of times people put like, I have some really great gift ideas for bridal, but then they don't actually tell the journalist what it is. So don't hide the lead. Put exactly what you're pitching and why it's perfect and all the nuts and bolts. And the energy of the pitch is not like, please feature us, please, like we can't afford an ad. It's just very objective and confident. Like, hey, I know people are looking for this right now. I saw that this is trending on TikTok. Like, try to validate it with some sort of relevance, whether it's pop culture, whether it's data, whether it's what people are looking for that season, and then just go into the specifics of your product.
You'd mentioned having an affiliate link, which is an interesting, a little interesting nuance tidbit for Etsy. And so since obviously we can't provide them an affiliate link, what you can do, and this is thanks to Bree Dudley, who came on the podcast a while ago and taught me about this, you can point them to the Etsy Creator Collective. And what that is it's Etsy's affiliate program. So while you as a seller can't offer them an affiliate link, I suggest, and Gloria, correct me if I'm wrong, in that email saying, you can sign up as an Etsy affiliate to refer to anything on Etsy, and it would help you actually get affiliate, pay for this product as well. And you can just link them to that, and then it's not even your deal. Like Etsy will manage it, but it's a way for you to throw in a little consideration for the reporter.
Yeah, they actually are. So it's not a number one requirement, but more and more they are looking for products that do have an affiliate link so that they can have a win-win. And it doesn't matter the percentage as much as you have one, right? And we just had somebody who writes gift guides come in to coach our people, and that's what she said is like the percentage doesn't matter as much, but if you do have one, definitely put it in there.
Like proactively share it because it is. And then, I mean, you could be doing a service for that journalist because then they're like, oh my gosh, from now on going forward, I'm already in this. I can do Etsy stuff and you could actually really be helping the journalist, which I think is a nice touch. And it's very easy to sign up for.
We are helping by creating content. And the worst they can do is say, no, not right now. Oh, here's another pro tip is before you send any emails, install an email tracker. And that's going to help you know who's opening or clicking multiple times. And so you don't have to make up a drama in your head like, oh, this journalist hates me. It's really not about that. So install an email tracking device. I liked to use a Chrome extension because I use Gmail. And if a journalist is opening it multiple times and they're not responding to you, it's a sign that they really like it. They just don't have a place for it yet. And so the follow-up trick is to follow up once a week for 3 weeks max. But when you follow up, don't say, hey, following up, hey, following up. Like try to refresh, and by the way, reply on that thread, but try to say, hey, now we're getting closer to graduation, or hey, this now we actually sold out of this, or hey, we just won this award. So try to, every time you follow up, bring a new angle in there. And just because they don't respond doesn't mean it's dead in the water. I ask journalists all the time, and they say that they always file away these different gifts in different categories so that once they're tasked to write something like best socks, they're going to go back into the folder and do a quick search. And it's a matter of time until they actually email you. So I had people who, emailed and they didn't get a response. And then 3 months later, something happened, right? And they're like, oh, are you available for a quote? Now I'm doing a roundup of XYZ. So just get your name in the hat. It's going to be in the journalist, folder, and always refresh your angles because the news is always going. So if you pitch something for Valentine's Day, you didn't get a response. Well, guess what? Then it's Earth Day, then it's Mother's Day, then it's graduation, right? So how can you repurpose what you have and just freshen up the angle so it doesn't seem like you're beating a dead horse?
Do you have a tracker that you like, Gloria? Because I love that you said we could use Gmail. I think we want to keep it really simple for people. Is there a tracker that you could recommend?
Yeah, so I have different ones. So I've used Mail Suite, which is pretty simple. Yeah, but there's different ones. You can even use like I think Streak is one of them as well. There's free ones, and then you can just pay a little bit to get rid of the watermark. So it doesn't say mail is tracked. which I don't think journalists really care, right? What matters is that you're sending an email. Don't send it on the weekend, send it Monday through Friday during business hours. Don't have a crazy amount of attachments, and then just monitor it. And I would follow up once a week for 3 weeks max. Another great way to follow up and break the ice is say, hey, I loved your article that you published yesterday on this so much that I actually bought one of these for my daughter, right? So there are people. So use compliments, engage with their work, follow them on Instagram, share their work.
So my little real life story here, and I'm sure you get this as well. As a podcaster, I get pitched constantly.
Yeah.
Do you also? Do you get like a million emails?
Yeah, I get it. And there are a lot of them are pretty terrible.
They're so terrible. So a couple things. Like, first of all, the first thing I would say as just someone on the receiving end of these pitches, I definitely can't get to them all. So I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I can't respond to every single person who pitches me. I don't mean to be rude, but like if it's not relevant, I can't spend my time, or else I would never be able to be here to record for you guys and talk to y'all and help the people I actually want to help. Number two, there's definitely times that I go back to something that was sent to me 6 months ago or more. And I'm like, you know what, that I remember I had that and it wasn't right at the time, but now it's actually perfect. And I'll go back to them. So also who cares if you don't hear back right away? Like, it's great to do it. Number three, it drives me crazy when I get a pitch and they pretend like they know what I do and they really have no idea. Oh my gosh, I loved your video about such and such. And like they clearly just copy and pasted the title. They didn't actually look at what the content was. And then when they're like, the other thing is when it's so not relevant, like they're trying to pitch to be on an Etsy podcast and they're like, this person's like a master gardener or whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
And I want to respond. I don't because I don't have time. So tell me what their Etsy shop is because I talk about. So I think there's like this consideration because the people who do, Gloria, the people who email me and they've obviously paid attention and they're not just being super generic and it is super relevant. I take those pitches. I put the people. Actually, I think that might have been how. Nope, you and I found each other on Instagram.
But I have had you too, right? And I gave very specific. Here's a hack about pitching for podcasts. It's still the CPR method, but instead of the 3 bullet points about your product, list out, here are the 5 questions I can answer for your audience. So you're making it super easy. And I will say that like 99% of the people who I've talked to who have podcasts really don't like it when it's like a third-party service that you're paying for people to pitch you. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't use those services. All I'm saying is that the quality tends to be poor and it's a volume game. So they're working with tons of clients and they're just shooting in the dark. And a lot of times, if you can't even like, and you can validate this for me, if you want to get on my podcast and you can't even be bothered to pitch me and you're like using a third-party service, I'm not that interested. I want you to pitch me directly. I want to hear from the founder.
I've had 2 of them that were really good. They used someone and they really did a quality job and they got on the podcast. But the bulk ones I get every day, honestly, it just makes me angry and I actually mark them as spam, which is something I don't usually do as an entrepreneur.
Ooh,
but I'm just like, this is because you're wasting my time. So, but the point is, guys, like, do your homework, send something that's actually really relevant. Don't just mass spam trying to get featured. Really pay attention to it. Send a thoughtful email. Short is great. When it's really long, you might be perfect and I'm still skipping you.
Yeah.
So I just think that's a very relevant scenario. And I also just want to reiterate, I sometimes go back to them later. So don't, and I think following up once a week is great. It drives me crazy though, like you said, when they're just like, hey, just following up. And I'm just like,
you're like, no, I read it, like give me a rating or a review. Like this is something I learned from my friend Ellen Yin is like, if you actually like paste a screenshot of like, I actually loved your podcast so much, I went ahead and did a rating and review. Here's a screenshot. Like 99% of people never do that.
You got me with that. No one's ever done that before, Gloria.
See?
You were the only one. Oh, you were the only one. You're amazing. I thought it was so brilliant. Okay, here's the other thing I think would be so interesting to talk about. So one of the reasons this was the time frame that I was hoping I could get in touch with you is because, one of the problems that Etsy sellers face, depending on what they sell, I actually think this is a myth, which is part of why I think this would be fun to talk about. Summertime for handmade product sellers can be a big lull for Etsy sellers. The organic traffic tends to go down a little bit on Etsy, just depending on, again, for graduation, no, it's an event and lots of stuff's happening then. But, your people who really have a lot of sales around the holidays because people are buying gifts and there's a lot of like Q4 is huge, just like retail generally. But what I was wondering is if you have some suggestions on how people could position to maybe get pitches in the summer that might help drive more business for them during those slower months, quote unquote slower, because it's really a myth. You just have to be wise about positioning.
Yeah. So again, it's not about your benefits and features. I actually, in our program, we have a calendar of all the different dates, but think about what people are looking for summer. They're thinking about travel. They're thinking about minis. They're thinking about graduation. And then I think about bridal. So there's a lot of personalized gifts there. I'm thinking about dresses. I'm thinking about citrusy scents. I'm thinking about ingredients that are fresh and light, thinking about colors that are, so think about what people are looking for in the summer and then pick the one or two products that's perfect for that. And I think it's not about it being a lull. It's just we're not taught to think like this. And so
yes,
you think in terms of the relevant seasons, you realize there's a blue ocean of opportunities you can pitch for all year round. I mean, really, we had people get featured. For example, we had a dermatologist, he makes like a sunscreen product and you would think, okay, well, that's only in the summer, but he actually gets featured even on Halloween because he pitched, everydayhealth.com about how Halloween candy is wreaking havoc on our skin. So you can also be an authority in your niche too. It could be just because you make print on demand doesn't mean you can't talk about kind of the wider scope of what's happening. So there's also ways to get featured for your founder feature, not just, the product. We had people who, make physical products. They make some travel minis, but then they got featured on a home organizational, like how to tidy up your home, because it's kind of kind of related too, right? Organization. So think about all the different ways you can branch out of just talking about what you're doing, but kind of the broader narrative, whether it's parenting or wellness or minimalism or sustainability.
Are you brand new to Etsy, about to get started, or struggling a bit to find your groove? What I'm about to say is just for you, okay? I can completely relate to where you're at because I think I can help you achieve success faster. When I first started my Etsy shop, it was not one of those success stories that we hear on the big YouTube channels, even on this podcast, where I just had crazy success and it took off right away. All right. I all but failed for my first 6 months, just like a lot of new sellers. And so it's very relatable. And the issue for me was I didn't understand demand, for one. I didn't understand SEO. I was way too broad in my search terms. And I didn't know how to position my product so that customers just couldn't help but click add to cart. And so once I learned those things, I went from making about $25 a month in sales to $6,000 a month and up. And in the holidays, I would even have $13,000 months, like at my shop's peak. And the thing about me, if you've been here for a minute, you already know this. I'm a terrible gatekeeper, okay? When I figure something out, when I crack a code, when I get excited, I cannot help but tell everybody who wants to listen. It's like either my best asset or my toxic trait. I can't decide. But I put everything that you need to know to fill that beginner knowledge gap into a low ticket, just under 3 hours beginner course that I have called 6-Figure Secrets to Getting Started on Etsy. In it, I'm teaching you how to find what's in demand for your niche, how to find and use trends, how to start your shop if you're worried about that part, SEO strategy to find the micro niches where the opportunity is, how to understand the Etsy algorithm, and a ton more. The whole thing is bite-sized videos, not long form, just small bite-sized videos, zero fluff, and to the point. You could get the course today, go through the less than 3 hours over the next couple days, launch your shop this weekend, and have sales coming in as soon as Sunday. So let's get you the few missing pieces of the Etsy success puzzle, those little tweaks you need to make so you can start making the sales that you deserve, because I have never been more convinced that there is room at this table on Etsy for everyone. And the opportunity is so ripe right now. I am in the numbers, in the data every day, and my mind just keeps expanding on the possibilities, okay? So as a special treat, use the code SAVE50 to save $50 on the 6-Figure Secrets course today. That's $50 off with the coupon SAVE50. And by all means, DM me or shoot me an email when those sales start popping, because I want to celebrate with you.
I think, what's a little bit underrated is Christmas in July has actually become pretty huge. I'm betting journalists are doing some writing about that because it's become such a fun thing for people. But I'm also thinking about I think the travel angle and hostess gifts. So, I mean, who is not going to barbecues or whatever's in the summer? Like hostess gifts could be perfect. It's just about positioning. And then, what I spend a lot of money on in the summer, this is so funny. We spend half the year in Wisconsin. And so in early June is when we start our drive from, and so many people take road trips from Texas to Wisconsin. And I spend so much money putting together things for us in the car. And it's not just is it activity stuff for the kids? Yes, absolutely. That's where a lot of it's going. But it's also like kind of creature comforts for the car. Like I am shopping for accessories and scents and just things that'll make it more pleasant to be in the RV for a few days to be traveling. I think solving some of
Yeah.
those problems is a massive opportunity in the summertime.
Exactly. We had someone who actually doesn't even make her own product. She makes like a home decor subscription box, and she got featured for like the funniest headlines. Like one was like, like what to give hostess with the mostest. Another one, and by the way, it's the same product, was what to give a newly divorced dad in your life, I thought was really funny. So like be creative with what you think, and no, you don't need to have a different product for every season, but you need to switch up your angles a little bit.
Do you have any tools? This is so good because sometimes I'm not the best ideator about these kinds of things. This isn't my Metron. How do you teach people to think outside the box? Like, I mean, I know we just rattled off a bunch of things, but the next time fall comes around, our examples won't be relevant. So how do you teach people to ideate for that?
Yeah, well, definitely having a content calendar, right, which is what
Okay.
we provide, but
A
also
niche
thinking about,
calendar. Yes, that's what
yeah,
yes.
so we have that for our members. We have like 56 different ideas all year round. But then also like you can use tools like Perplexity, which what I love, it's replaced my Google. And what I love about
Whoa.
Perplexity is that you can search, it's like an AI search engine that kind of amalgamates all of the answers instead of you having to click on each individual like Google result. And so for example, if someone makes, candles or home decor, you can literally type in the search box of Perplexity, what buckets of gift guides does apartment therapy write? And if apartment therapy only writes a certain amount of, if they don't do like a one for luxury gifts, and if you make a premium candle, then you're not going to pitch to apartment therapy. So you can definitely do some searching with Perplexity to figure out what are the types of stories, because a lot of times these stories are not new. They're the same buckets and categories. They just update them every year.
Is it like ChatGPT or it sounds totally different?
Yeah, so Perplexity is an AI web search tool, whereas ChatGPT is not really a web search tool. So Perplexity.ai, I definitely recommend you replace your Google with it. It's the
Wow.
best web search tool that helps you crawl for all of the answers, kind of gives you the best one. So you can type in, what are the magazines that writes gift guides for this category? And then it'll give you. And then you can kind of ask again, well, out of these magazines, what are the 5 types of gift guides for gifts under $50, right? So you can kind of have a conversation with it. And it's really good because it really, like I said, it takes all of the answers and synthesizes it into a very succinct answer for you.
Add to cart. I literally want to look at it right now. Gloria, one of the things I love about you is you have no gatekeeping. You are such a breath of fresh air. Like I swear, every time I talk to you, all you do, you just give, 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 give. I just really hope the universe is overwhelming you with giving back because I cannot believe. No, you are genuinely, you are so generous, and I'm warm and wonderful. Pardon me?
You too. I mean, look at the community you've built.
Thank you. That's very kind. I just remember in my case, like being a new mom and desperately wanting to be home with my kids and having freedom, having choice, unlike the idea of a corporate being away. And I know I'm so extremely fortunate. I am privileged, but I just get really excited about that there's choices. Like my mom was a high-powered businesswoman back in the day. My parents ran their own company. My mom was home for less than 2 weeks with me as a newborn and handed me over to the nanny and got back to work. And we just have choices now. So I think you and I both just get excited about, especially giving women choices and like sharing what we've learned to make it easier, because I just remember what that felt like thinking, just feeling trapped of having to go back. Fortunately, I didn't because I was building businesses, but that's why we are how we are. So first of all, I think everyone should go take your free PR training because it is free and because they're going to pick up tools, and because before you even build social media, an email list or anything, you can literally just launch your Etsy shop with 2 listings and this is like relevant. Like what, how else can we learn from you?
So the free training is gloriachoupr.com/masterclass. It's gloriachoupr.com/masterclass. Watch that. That's definitely, a lot of people get featured, honestly, just watching that. Because I just literally give you a screenshot of what that pitch looks like. And then it becomes so easy. And then I'm available. I'm on Instagram. I'm very open. I share a lot of like very vulnerable and honest stuff. I have a very bold stance on my values. So I'm not unapologetic about it. I mean, I am unapologetic about it. So, be prepared for some content. So I'm on Instagram at Gloria Chou PR. And if you DM me the word Lizzie. I will give you an extra bonus so that you can have another PR resource to be on your way. So DM me the word Lizzie.
With an IE. Not that it really matters. Do you know that we all get a ton of emails? I think I read every single email you send. I don't like, there is something about the way you send emails that I like see it and I have to stop what I'm doing. I'm like, what is she talking about? Because it's either going to be so full of value that the time is worth spending, or you're going to shock me so much with the content of what you say.
Guilty as charged. Yeah, I
It's
go
one of the
there.
two. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Okay, well, it is always a joy to be with you. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom with us. And I hope we can continue to be buddies and friends. So thank you. You're the best.
Thank you.
Guys, thanks for hanging out. I hope you're walking away inspired. Like, there is just not a single one of you that shouldn't be having ideas, shouldn't be taking that PR training. So thanks for being with us. I love you so much. And until next week, go make something awesome. Bye, guys.
And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com, where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.